What do you got, Coach? 3 things that all coaches need. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of coaches?
New York or the Aces? Definitely going with the Aces.
All right, 4th down. Who has the tougher job, coaches or officials? If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? But Texas is different. Welcome back to the Coaches Co-op. I am your host, Michael Prejean, better known as Coach P. This is a masterclass in athletic leadership where coaches connect, grow, and share the grind. Each week, I get the opportunity to team up with coaches across the country to break down the wins, the lessons, and everything in between. This week, I get to team up with a powerhouse family of Texas high school basketball. Joining us first is Coach Lori Shead, a 30-plus year veteran coach and principal architect of North Crowley girls basketball. Coach Shead has built programs at nearly every level from 1A to 6A. Not only do the roots of her coaching tree run deep, she is a PhD candidate, a fast pitch softball umpire, and a big truck driver. Welcome to the Coaches Co-op, Coach Lori Shead.
Hey.
Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so very much for your time. You probably don't remember this, but
okay.
We talked a few years back. It was at a tournament. I was talking to you and I was talking to Coach Spurlock. She's an assistant athletic director in KDISD now. I was asking y'all, I was like, okay, how do I make it to 30 years? And y'all gave me some great advice. I didn't make it to 30. I don't know if I'm going to go back and make it to 30. Okay. But
yes,
I appreciated your time that day and I appreciate your time today. All right, Coach. So
thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So we're going to start with something that I call Talk That Talk. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to talk that talk about North Crowley. So tell us what's exciting at North Crowley right now.
Everything. I've been there 11 years. And so I think that we are finally able to see a progression in all of our programs at North Crowley. So it just makes it, of course, when you change, you begin to change a culture, and that starts with other sports, not just your own. But I think that because now we have a sense of pride, we were blessed to win 6A D1 state championship in football last year. And that has given tremendous drive for our kids just all the way across the board in athletics. So everything's good about North Crowley for me right now. Women's basketball, I'm so excited, not just because, that's my thing, but we got some great things coming and there's some good things happening.
Good. It's always good when you have a strong football program that sets the table for the school year and the rest of the programs. That's good stuff.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Next up, Coach Taylor Rambo. She's now carving her own path as the head coach at Randall High School and a decorated college athlete who believes in the holistic development of her student athletes and building culture from the ground up. With your real hands or with your virtual hands, I need y'all to say hello to Coach Taylor Rambo. Coach, welcome back to the Co-op. This is your second time here with us. Thank you for your time. I'm glad you're here today.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here. This is a cool experience.
All right. So Coach Rambo, what is the energy like building the Randall program?
Well, first of all, let me just throw out there that our football team won state last year too, 5A state champions. So shout out to them. I got to put a little plug in there because they know I ride for them and my husband's a football coach. But it's been really good energy. I think the biggest thing for me is my kids. Like, I've tried to put them in positions to be leaders and to feel like they have some ownership over the program. And because of that, I think just stepping into the season, man, I'm so excited every time I walk into athletics because I know what they're going to bring and what kind of energy they're going to bring. And I just have some really good kids that I get to work with. And I think I've tried to invest so much time into the culture that I think now it's kind of taking care of itself in terms of the energy that they're bringing. I mean, and I really try to stress family. And that's a big thing that our athletic coordinator stresses is we're family. And that's just kind of trickled down. I think because of that, it's one of those things where we kind of hold each other up. Like, they know, okay, somebody's having a bad day. Well, now we got to kind of pick up the slack for them. And it's just really cool to see how, these teenage kids can take that and really run with it. And because of the energy and because of the culture, I think it's really allowed us to already kind of see some success in some of the things that we're doing. So, man, when I say I love kids, but I love these kids, and it's just really cool to coach them. And I've just been I've been a little giddy, if you can't tell, but it's been awesome.
And you should be, right? You should be. You're in a great place. You love where you are. Another state champion football team, right? And doing well again this year. I try to keep up, a little bit with football around the state. So that's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, now let's complete the family lineup. Okay, she is the associate head basketball coach at North Crowley, a teacher and coach deeply committed to consistency, culture, and connection, a future leader. I don't want to say in the making because I know she already takes on a huge leadership role, but let's bring to the stage Coach Tori Branch. Coach Branch, how are you today?
Hey guys, I'm great. How are you?
Good. Again, thank you for your time. So glad that I have all of you here today. So, Coach Branch, here's what I need you to tell us. What makes North Crowley one of the top 6A programs in the great state of Texas?
I would honestly say our culture. I think it starts with that. I tell the kids all the time, everybody can't stand on this baseline here. And it's because they bought into what we're trying to do at North Crowley, what we're trying to continue to do. We have a great set of coaches, but we have a lot of kids who buy in every day. They're committed. They come in and they just already know the expectation. But I think we're a lot different than a lot of programs. We do things a lot differently. I just feel like when we come in, we have a plan. And if you don't fit that plan, if you don't fit, I don't want to say a mold because we don't want to mold them, but we're trying to get them all on the same page. Then they're not for North Crowley. So it's a lot that goes into wearing NC across your chest. And I think that building, like I said, the culture, just letting them know the expectations, and we can't bend. And I think that's how, we've been so successful the last few years.
Okay. All right. So the roots of this family coaching tree obviously run deep, right? The branches spread wide. So this question is for you, Coach Shead. So
Okay.
your mom was a state champ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your dad was a state runner-up.
Yes.
We're here in the co-op. Both of your daughters are coaches. You have 2 sons-in-law that coach. So this athletic life is obviously part of your DNA. So what I want to know is what led you into this life?
Well, I always had aspirations to be an Olympic athlete. Unfortunately, that was not God's plan for me. So I did have the opportunity to start my career, post high school. But because I was diagnosed with scoliosis, I had to have an early back surgery. So at that point, I felt that my life in athletics was unfinished. So my initial career choice was to be an attorney. I think I would have made a good one. But after I did not get to complete my athletic career personally, I decided that I wanted to be a coach. Had not ever crossed my mind to do so. But I just think that clearly that was God's plan and purpose for me. So That personal change in my life early on, because I was only 16 at the time, led me to decide that I wanted to coach. And I felt that there would be some other athletes or, students that I would come encounter that may have experienced some of the same things I did, that may be different, but just things that may have prohibited them from fulfilling a dream. And then they could always find a way to still have that dream, just in a different capacity. So that's how I honestly decided to become a coach.
Okay. Now, Coach Branch, you said like this is what the family does, right? So you felt like it was just natural to continue that legacy. So my question for you is, you talked about making the transition from player to coach. So what was that transition like for you? Because you knew that this is what you were going to do. So talk about that.
Actually, I did not think this is what I was going to do. I wanted to stay far away possible from the court after I was done playing, because both of my parents were coaches. However, first year, or when I graduated college, I had a para opportunity, and I took it. And my kids were like, "Are you going to move up to middle school with us?" And I was like, "No." And then I eventually did. However, the transition from player to coach is it's hard, because every great player does not make a good coach. And I've said this before in a different podcast, and I don't think people really understand, because when we leave playing for the field, the court, whatever, we try to fill that void. And most people are like, "Oh, I want to coach," but it takes a lot more than to just say it. You have to learn the game. You have to evolve with the game. The game evolves every day. If you're not studying the game, if you're not up to speed with, X, Y, and Z, as far as, basketball, for this example, it's not going to be a good, I guess, transition for you. So transitioning from player to coach at first was very hard for me, because I think I was just trying to fill a void of just being, gone from the game. And then I fell in love with the kids and the relationships that I built. So being a player and going into a coach is probably one of the hardest things I feel like athletes can do, because most of them, they do give up. They try to fill the void and they're not good coaches, or they're not as successful. And so I just had, the opportunity to kind of be behind the lens my whole life. So I feel like I kind of, I had a cheat code per se on both sides of my family. So it was definitely a transition. So I do want to encourage people, make sure that you are up to speed with whatever sport that you are trying to get into.
So this is what I'm hearing. Because Coach Rambo, you tried to run as well,
Yes,
right?
far away.
So y'all tried to run from coaching, but you were pulled back in, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing I know that teaching and coaching, it's not for everybody, right? It is not for everybody. It is a calling, and you all answered the call. So Coach Rambo, you tried to stay as far away as possible. What changed that drew you in? What was that change?
It was kind of the same thing. My first year out, I was getting my master's degree. So I was a graduate assistant at the college that I graduated from. And then I was also doing high school and middle school at the same time, trying to get my master's. Like, it was a lot. And I was like, I'm only going to do this for a year. It's just an opportunity for me to make money while I'm finishing this up, my master's and all of that. And I fell in love with it, the game all over again, just in a different way. And I think sometimes, especially as kids, and like Tori said, like on both sides of the family, they're coaches. And I just felt, and matter of fact, I actually left the profession for 3 years and came back to it. So I even tried to run again, and God was like, "Nah, you gotta stay here," But I just think I started to realize that there's so much more to coaching than the things that I think we saw as kids, like the stress that our parents experienced, or the conversations they had to constantly have, and just all of the like managing things. And I was like, I don't want that life. I want to do something where I can just go home and be at home and I don't have to work, and I think for me, it's just the kids. Like, I'm so passionate about kids, but I also know what basketball did for me and my life. And I know what coaches did for me in my life. And, you know, we had a unique experience where our mom was our coach, you know, so I just think once I got into it and even tried to get out of it again and came back to it, I think it's just my passion that I think is deep seated for kids that I couldn't keep running from. And I think that's that's one of the big things in coaching. And I think that's what a lot of people are leaving the profession, but it's just that love that you have for kids and the passion that you have for them that I think draws us in. And I think I think it's a calling, like you said. And if you don't have it, that it's hard to coach. And so you really, in my mind, you can't run from a calling, and it's just kind of what it is. So I'm good with, where I am now.
Listen, it's definitely a calling. The people who are called can't run from it, but it will run those who are not called away. It'll definitely run them away. So, Mom, you got to coach all of your babies.
I did.
What was that like?
Challenging sometimes. The one story that it sticks in my mind all the time is we used to talk basketball all the time. And so we were in the car one day, and of course Tori, my most outspoken of the three, looked at me and said, "Can you just be mama?" I was like, I am. No. When you get in the car, you're still coaching. So can you just be mom and we not talk basketball? And I said, okay. I mean, but I think that probably one of the things I look back on most when coaching them, I was so demanding of making sure that my kids were not perceived to be on the court just simply because they were my children. I wanted it to be that their talent, their work ethic, their passion, and their drive for the game is what kept them on the floor. And I was so hard on them that I often say I can't believe they continued to play because my expectations were so extreme. But I think in the end, it made them who they are. It was a joy. Those are the types of memories that you get to create that are rare and that a lot of people don't have that opportunity to do so. So even though it was challenging, it was really fun. It was beautiful to watch them evolve into the players that they became. One of the things that I did have to sit back on was as they continue to grow, I realized that they didn't need to just continue to hear my voice. So I think the biggest decision as a mom and as a coach is to allow someone else to take that over. But I do know it helped me also to go from being a mom on the floor to being a mom that was supportive in the stands. So I wouldn't trade those memories for anything. I think that was probably some of the best things that we shared together for a long period of time. I mean, from singing Usher on the freeway in San Antonio to in AAU to, high school on the bus to try to figure out what we're eating. So it was a joy. I can say that.
So take me inside your parent meeting. Do you share any of those lessons with the parents of your players today? The lessons that you learned? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. It's ironic you asked because I had another coach who's currently coaching her daughter. And the first thing she wanted to know was, how did I navigate coaching mine? The one thing I tell parents is that we can't, as parents, live through our children. We have to let their destiny be their destiny. So it is up to them to decide how much they want to invest in what it is they're trying to do. And that you as the parent cannot be the one to want that more than they do. If they are not willing to put the work in, then your return on your investment is going to be very limited. Because I feel that at this day and time, parents invest so much time and money outside of just them playing, at school. So to me, one of the things I bring up is, I think genetics does play a role in how successful a student athlete may be. And I will ask often, how many of you are state champions, district champions, regional champions? And I tell them, I said, okay, so genetically speaking, the representation here would say that not very many. It's going to be up to your student athlete to change that narrative. It's going to be their work that gets them to be the first state champion in your family. And honestly, I didn't realize that my mom was a state champion until she was like 70, and she's 87 now. And so she told me, she said, well, I won a state championship in basketball. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? Because we were a track family, honestly. So to hear her say that just kind of gave me an overall sense of pride, and to know that even unbeknown to me, I was really carrying on something that I didn't even know existed in our family when I started coaching basketball. So, just to be able to do that and see my mom and the things that even she taught me just off the court, not necessarily the things that are on the floor, so it was wonderful. I wouldn't take it back at all.
That's good. I wish I would have asked that question in my parent meetings. Now I might have to go back and coach just one more year so I can answer the question. I might have to go back one more year. All right. So the outspoken Coach Branch, mom, can you just be mom? Right. So is there a core philosophy that mom instilled in you that is like absolutely critical to your coaching approach today?
My mother always told me to think before I speak. um, I didn't quite take after that one really well, but I would say one thing that I instill in our kids today that I feel like I took after her was um, don't even cheat the little things. And kind of what she said a while ago, whatever you put into is what you get out of it. And I think that was something that, I stress to our kids this day now and age, but I tell them whatever you put into the game, it's always, it's giving. So whatever you put into it, that's what you're going to get out of it. If you don't go get up extra shots on Tuesday and Friday nights, don't go out there shooting 30 shots because they're not going to fall because you haven't been in the gym. You're not perfecting your craft. So even when we're starting our little sprints, if I see a toe on the line, I'm like, and they know because all I have to do is give them a look. I got that from her too. But giving them a look, just making sure that they're, on top of their P's and Q's. And I just think that, paying attention to detail, she's OCD. Paying attention to detail is really, really big. So I think those are a few things that I did learn from her. So other than my mouth, because I always got in trouble.
Okay, so you said that all you have to do is give them the look, and you got the look from mom. So
Yeah,
for people who will watch this later, what's the look? Show us the look.
that one.
That one. Okay. Now, did she get it right, mom? Did she get it right?
she hit it right. She really did.
I do it every day.
No, that's listen, that's
Yep.
good, because from a teaching standpoint, that means that the look was accompanied by a reward, a comment, or a consequence. So they know exactly what that look means. So Coach Rambo, head coach now. Two-part question for you. So what is the one lesson that you carry every day from mom? And then, well, let's answer that one first, and then I'll ask the second part.
I think for me, it's just kind of been the impact that you can have on kids. I watched my mom, invest in kids, not just on the floor. And she really took the time to make sure that, she checked in on them and things like that. And as a kid, when you're younger, you're kind of like, hey, like, that's my mom, you get a little protective over that. But I just think I realized that the impact that she had and the influence she was able to have just from simply caring about kids and investing in them outside of on the floor, it really made me want to have that same type of impact. And I think just to me being a mom now, kind of just seeing how hard she was on us. But I think there were times too that she did try to take the feedback that we were giving her on what we needed as her kids. And so I really want to carry that with me too, because I hope I can coach my girls one day. I have a son too, and so maybe I'll get to coach him too. But I just want to make sure that I'm balancing the two and trying to give them what they need as my kids, but also still pushing them in a way that's going to make them better, because the type of player I was is the reason why I am where I am today. And I was only that kind of player because of how I was pushed. And so I'm grateful for that.
Okay. So are there any other ways, maybe on the court, off the court? You mentioned you're a mom now. So are there any other ways that you summon mom's like advice? Do you kind of catch yourself doing things and you're like, oh man, I sounded just like mom. Or I
Uh,
did that just like mom.
Often, and I'm like, man, I always used to be like, I'm never gonna, do, and I'm like, man, I sound just like her. Matter of fact, Tori talked about the look, and my first thought was that's the look I give my three. Like they know, like to the point they don't really care if I'm saying something. They look at me like I don't care, but I give them the look, and then and then my middle one for sure, she starts to go, oh wait a minute, I know what that means. Let me, because she's the one that'll test it. So I'm like, I definitely adopted that from her too. But instead, now my three get it too.
Now, knowing what I know about parents and grandparents and children and grandchildren, I'd bet good money that the grandkids don't get the look.
No.
I knew it. I knew it.
Matter of fact, they came home with toys and candy, and we stayed up way past our bedtime watching shows. And I was like, "What is she running over there? A frat house? Like y'all got a bedtime. Y'all need to go to bed. You don't need ice cream at 11 o'clock at night. Get in bed."
That does not apply at my house. That does not apply.
There it is. There it is. Listen, let them stay up late, sugar them up, send them home.
Yep.
All
and
right,
they swam all day.
I don't agree with that philosophy. You can keep them longer if we're gonna do all that.
Okay.
All right. So, Coach Shead,
Yes.
mentioned this earlier. 3 decades in the game, right? Your mom was a state champ, so your mom played when they played like sixes, 3 on offense, 3 on defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
In your 3 decades in the game, what have you seen change the most?
The kids. I mean, and I say that carefully because for as much as they've changed, honestly, as much as they stay the same, I think the environments in which our kids are having to dwell in and are having to navigate has complicated a lot of things around them. So I think that has indirectly and directly affected their approach and their behavior in life and their approach to life. One of the things that I remember when I first began coaching, we still had corporal punishment. I mean, I still had a paddle that was made just for me to utilize in athletics. But that sense, of course, is something that we've gone away from. But I feel that the discipline piece just overall in our schools is not as strong as it used to be, but we are very limited in how we can discipline. I think the beautiful thing about coaches is that we, as much as it's changed, we still have just as strong, if not a stronger influence now on our student athletes than we've ever had before. Because as you and I both know, there are so many occasions when we are all they have. So I think that for me, as I've gone through 3 decades of coaching, I am prideful to say that I feel that I've been very adaptive because I've always said that smart coaches surround themselves with smarter coaches. So there are some avenues and some areas in which I feel that generationally I cannot reach when it comes to them. They don't view me as someone they can probably talk to about certain things, but they do view me as the individual that can resolve whatever's wrong. So just over the course of that, I've even seen my role as a coach just change, not just because I'm a head coach, but simply just because the gap is real, whereas when I first began, it was not. But the one thing about athletes now, they are so skilled and talented. When they have it, they have it. I mean, some of the things they're capable of doing, I just look and I'm honestly in awe sometimes. But, there's also a huge gap in regards to some of the opportunities that they get, whether that be financially based, whether that be emotionally based. And that's the one thing that I think I've had to learn to navigate is the emotional piece. I have to be a little bit softer. And of course, my kids just flat tell me I'm soft, and I look at Branch and say, well, you're me 20 years ago, and I feel that the same thing with Rambo. She's me 20 years ago. But I think that as I've gone on, there are just so many different things now that used to really set me off, so to speak, that I just feel it's a part of the life they're navigating. So I tend to give a little bit more grace in certain areas than what I used to. But our kids are just, the dynamics of society is just so different. So I think that basketball has taken a different role, even in their lives, just sports in general. But I speak from a basketball standpoint.
No, that's good. So my 2 cents that nobody asked for. I think adults have changed, and I'm talking about like my generation of parents, because we were raised a certain way, and just generally speaking, we were raised a certain way. We weren't raised with entitlement, and then it appears, at least on the surface, that many kids today seem to come with a bag of entitlement in their pocket, that they believe that they're entitled to certain things without having worked for them. And kids are kids. So the environment has definitely changed. But I think adults have kind of changed, a little bit more than maybe the kids have. That's just my 2 cents that nobody asked for. Another thing, I just thought about this as well. I think another thing that has changed is schools are in communities, and the teachers and coaches all lived in that community, right? So it was like, we're going to go to the grocery store, and we're going to see the principal in the grocery store, and we're going to see the 5th grade teacher in the grocery store, and we're going to see the coach in the grocery store, right? So no matter where you turned, all of the people in the community were the same. And then I think there was a very high level of trust there. So whatever the teacher or the principal or the coach said was law, because everybody lived in the same community. I think one of the things we have now is we have administrators, we have teachers, principals, even some coaches who don't necessarily live right where they ply their trade, and those relationships take a little bit longer to be built. But nobody asked me any of that stuff. Coach Branch.
Yes, sir.
Do you desire to be a head coach one day?
No, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mom, what you think about that?
At first, I've always wanted to be the person to advocate for young coaches, but I wanted to be that person that I did not have when I was a young coach. So in the process of me setting out, once I made up my mind, because my girls are the reason why I coach basketball. I started off as a track coach. So when I committed to that and they shared with me what their dream was, I could see that once these two got into coaching, it had always been my thought process that if I could set them up for success, then that's what I aspire to do, not only as a mom, but also just as a coach who almost hopefully forged some type of path for them to be able to reach their level of success that they desire. We have had a number of years in which, honestly, Crowley ISD enabling me to hire my daughters at North Crowley has been really phenomenal and a very unique situation. I always felt in my heart that one of these two would be the next head coach of North Crowley, because I knew North Crowley would be my very last coaching job. I said it when I took it 9 years ago. And at first, when she first shared with me that she wasn't quite sure if she wanted to be a head coach, I wasn't upset. I just kept thinking that she would realize how impactful she is with kids, and just how much she influences the direction in which they go. And they both do. They both have an innate gift in which kids, they migrate toward them. They absolutely love them. I don't care how hard they are on them, their expectations, they truly love them. And I've felt that over time, I had hoped, just by her being able to be a part of the growth of this program and knowing she had a pivotal role in that, I had hoped she would change her mind. I can honestly say it's been here within probably the last year and a half that I finally resigned to the fact that what I may have had in mind for her may not necessarily be what she had in mind for herself. Although I felt that what I told Taylor in the beginning was that when she decided she wanted to go away from coaching and she was going to minister, and I said, I think coaching is your ministry. I think that your ability to influence and reach kids extends far beyond you being a youth minister. I'm not saying that's not your calling as well. I just don't think abandoning coaching is it either. And God's brought her back to it. So with Coach Branch and Tori, I know that there's still things that she may aspire to do. And as her mom, I'm going to support whatever that is. As the coach at North Crowley High School, I can't see anyone that would be better than her. She's in it. She's there. It's really becoming her baby, to an extent, because I give her a lot of ownership at North Crowley. So, again, whatever she decides, I'm going to support that. Dude, am I wishing that something would change in the meantime? I absolutely, because it's really hard. I've never been anywhere, Coach, for 11 years of my career. I've always been there 2 or 3 and I leave. So this has been almost for me, like a lifetime investment at North Crowley High School. So to be able to just hand that over to just anyone without being assured that they're going to continue the culture, the excellence, the expectations, the winning culture we're beginning to establish there in women's basketball, it's going to be hard, because I just always had that in my mind, that ideal that it would be her. But I'm a supporter 120%, whatever that looks like.
Okay. I'm just gonna watch from afar and see what happens. I can say now, stepping away, both of my assistants, I was fortunate to have coached them, right? So while they're not my babies, they're my babies. So the fact that they are there at Klein Oak, taking care of that program means absolutely the world to me. So yeah. Mom, I just a little bit, I feel you. Just a little bit, I feel you. I'm also looking at Coach Branch's facial expression. It hasn't changed at all, right? It hasn't changed at all. But I can, if I can read her mind, she's like, okay, that's enough, Mom. Mom, that's enough. Yeah. So y'all got to coach them and y'all got to coach together. So like, what is it like to plan practice together? And anybody can answer this. What's it like to plan practice together, to be in the timeout together, to talking about substitution patterns together? What's that like?
Taylor, you go first.
I mean, it was unique, and I think the great thing about it was we all we grew up together and we did the same things and kind of gained the same knowledge. So it really gave us an advantage. Actually, one of my players yesterday was like trying to find me because, they're like PIs or something. And I was like, you're a op, like trying to find stuff. But she was like, oh, y'all were out there killing people. I was like, I know. I was like, we had a squad, but it was so unique in that way. But I do think it was hard to manage when, at times when we got home, even coaching wise, just because we're all so passionate about it. And while we all kind of had similar knowledge of the game, we also had different opinions about it because our experiences were different. Mm-hmm. Mom coming from the coaching aspects, me coming from, I played a different position than Tori did, and then our sister Tiara, like she kind of had a different role. And so I think it just really came down to us being able to kind of talk through that and all have our own opinions, but figure out how do we go out on the court the following day. Because it was almost like, all right, we were talking about this yesterday. We were mad about it. Now we got to kind of fake it till we make it type thing, And so I think it really just kind of taught us how to really what we try to preach to our kids. Like, we don't always have to agree, but how can we step foot on the court now and come to a consensus because we all have the same goal at the end of the day. And so I think it really just helped us navigate that in a sense. And I think that's really honestly what made us so good, is because we were able to have a type of chemistry, and we were able to have different opinions and honestly kind of go at it a little bit. But then it was like the next day we had to figure out how to work through that so that we could go ahead and what's the mission, And so I definitely think that played a part in it.
Coach Branch.
So are you talking about as players or as like coaching with her?
So coaching.
Okay, I'll go from a coaching perspective.
Okay.
As far as timeouts, they are very they can be heated. Coach Shed does not call timeouts, Coach B, at all. Like
Okay.
at all. So we will have all 5 timeouts usually at the end of the game. But
Okay.
sometimes I'll be like, Mom, and she'll be down there, looking cute on the sideline. And then I have to say Lori because she doesn't hear me. And she'll just look at me and I'm like, timeout. She's like, okay. And so sometimes she don't call it fast enough. I can't call it. So during the timeouts, if she sees something, she'll say it, but they're pretty intense. She kind of lets me do my thing. I'm the defensive coach, and she kind of gave me that role. So basically in the timeouts, they're pretty heated. As far as practice, again, she's standing over there. She looks great. And she'll say a few things, and she'll be like, "Hey, Branch," or she doesn't call me Branch. My name is usually Tuck because that was my maiden name. "Hey, Tuck, this is what I think we should be doing." Da 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 da. And I'm like, "Okay." Sometimes it's not that pleasant. Sometimes you can definitely tell that our last names are different because people don't think she's my mother. They're like, "Is that really your mom?" I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, so the convincing is different, but also just the fact that she does trust me. Sometimes it is heated conversations because we disagree a lot. So, and I don't want to say a lot. I mean, like when it comes to like certain things, where I'm like, "Mom, that's not gonna work." "Oh, just try it." "No, it's not gonna work." It's like more of a convincing thing. And sometimes she doesn't hear me. She's like, "We're gonna do it because I want to do it." "Okay, you're the boss."
I mean, iron sharpens iron, right? And if you can imagine iron sharpening iron, that's friction. So there's got to be some friction there. I really want to. This is not to get into like basketball X's and O's and stuff, but I really want to go there, but I'm not gonna do it. So I'm just gonna ask about this. I want to know about Taylor versus the twins.
Oh my gosh. So
there are a few bloody noses that came out of some of those games. I'm gonna just say that.
First of all, my dad is probably before I met my husband, my dad is the most competitive person ever. And he would take us outside and we had 2 goals. Him and my
on
mom.
The grass, mind you, we had goals on the grass.
Yes. So we turned my grandma's backyard into like a full court, and eventually it was grass and it turned into dirt. My dad would take us back there and we would play 21, and my dad did not have any rules. So sometimes it would be him against Taylor, and most of the times it would be me and Tiara both against Taylor by herself because Taylor was a freaking just I don't even know what to say. Like Taylor was a hoss. That's what we called it back in the day. She was a hoss. Like she's putting her freaking shoulder into you. She doesn't care if she breaks your face. Like she does not care. So at times we would like team up on her. She would get so mad. And then as we got older, she can't outshoot me. So that's one thing that I was super confident in. Now, when we get in the paint, you got it. I don't want no parts of Taylor Tucker. I don't want no parts of her. Now, when we got older, yeah, come guard me out here. Come here. So it was different because we played different positions. So I was a guard. Taylor was a power forward, and Twin was, I guess you could say she was a guard forward. But Taylor is the person that had all the traditional up and under. She had all the post moves and stuff, which I wish they would bring back to the game. It was beautiful to watch her play, just because she was just art. It was just poetry, just because how good she was. And people would always say, "Oh, who would win one-on-one?" And I'm like, we play 2 different positions. But if you really want to know, Taylor beat me a lot. So here we are.
Did you ever have to step in and play referee? Did you ever have to hand out any technical fouls?
Had a couple, just a couple, but yeah.
Figure it out.
I mean, it kind of started, honestly. It's really started when they were all in car seats. We really want to be honest. If Taylor would sit between the 2 twins, and they would grab each one of her ponytails, and they would just pull them, and she would just be back there crying. She would be so upset.
Let's talk about why
And
you
so
kept
really
setting
I
me
had
up
to
for that.
intervene that early.
You kept setting me up for that because you kept putting pinky tails.
It was the only way they
side,
would
and you
fit.
knew I was gonna sit in the middle. So you were like, it was almost like you were like, let me just see if they're gonna do it today too. And it just like I got set up. That's what I hear right now. What I will say though is
I'm so sorry.
it got to the point when we would come in from the backyard and somebody's lip was busted, somebody's nose was bleeding, you had scratches, and our grandma and mama would be like, or if my dad at times would be like, what happened? Nothing, friendly fire. And we were back there, I mean, just fighting because it got that competitive that we were ready to like fist fight over the game. And we just all got to the point where we were like, don't you go in there and tell, just say it just happened by accident going for a rebound. Yeah. And then we kind of learned the game because we were kind of sick of getting in trouble for that too. So it got heated, like quick.
I love it. So Hoss, listen, that I haven't heard that in a long time. Where is the family from?
East Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
East Texas.
My mom and dad primarily grew up in East Texas. Near Palestine. So that's where they live now. My mom's family kind of came from Oklahoma. We're not quite sure exactly the origin of where. My dad's family was primarily there where they grew up. So, they're East Texas people.
Yeah, that's a good backwoods. I'm from South Louisiana, so we heard that a lot where I grew up. That's a lot of people don't know what that is. A lot of these city folks don't know what that is. No. Okay, y'all, I got to do my little commercial right here. So let me do my commercial and then we're going to get right back to it. We'll get back to the conversation in a second, but here at the Coaches Co-op, we're all about building championship level systems on and off the court. This episode is brought to you by The Path for Coaches, because iron sharpens iron and real growth happens when coaches support coaches. If you're looking to level up your team culture, fine-tune your playbook, or just stay motivated through the grind, check out The Path for Coaches. You can find The Path for Coaches at Amazon.com, or you can send me a direct message on IG at podcast_with_Prejean. Unlock the power of mentoring. Discover ways to be a good mentor and find good mentors with The Path for Coaches, Volume 1, Mentoring. All right, let's get back to it. You are in the Coaches Co-op, the go-to podcast for coaches looking to elevate their leadership, culture building, and team success. I am here with Coach Branch, Coach Rambo, and Coach Shead, the first family. Yeah. Y'all just might be the first family of Texas high school women's basketball. Yeah. I think y'all can make a very, very strong case for this. Okay. Anybody can answer this question. What's the most rewarding part of your job?
I would say relationships for sure. Okay. Building the relationships that'll last a lifetime. I've been in it. This is my 10th year. And I still have kids, that reach out to me or that I see. And, I don't think I've had not one kid that can't say that, and this isn't to toot my own horn, just the impact that I made. And I coach PE too. So I'm a professional babysitter. So all the kids that I have in PE on top of the kids that I have, on the team, like, the relationships that you build, you don't really know, like, in the moment, like, yes, I know what I'm doing. I know that God has called me to do X, Y, and Z because it is a calling, like we said. You don't really know until you do see those kids later down the road and they come back and they thank you, or they see you, or they run to you in Walmart, just stuff like that. I have kids, I went to their graduation and they were crying just because I remember, because I have freshmen, they'll come up to me, Coach T, you remember when I said I wasn't going to graduate? Just those type of moments is what fills my heart, and on top of my basketball kids. So I think relationships are really big with this generation because I feel like we can relate to them a lot just simply because we are a lot closer in age. No offense, Mom. But I think that, building those relationships and building the rapport that we have, they go a really long way. And that's honestly why I'm still in it, honestly, because of the relationships that I build. Because I know, that's one of my expertise. That's one of my expertises. Is that a word?
If it's not, we'll make it a word.
You're a PE teacher, so it's okay. You're not an English teacher.
Mom, is that a word?
Yes, that's one of your areas of expertise.
There we go. Thanks. That she's an English teacher right here. I mean,
Okay. All right. So I want everybody to answer this one real quick. What's the hardest thing about the job that nobody knows?
parents.
Coach Shead?
Yeah. Go ahead. You can go ahead. Hey, you can go ahead.
I would say navigating parents.
Okay. Coach Rambo?
Okay.
I think that was the last time I was on the podcast.
Mama, take those out. You're echoing.
You're echoing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, the last time I was on the podcast.
Hold it.
You're showing your age.
You're showing your age.
They're off.
Okay.
Can you hear still echoing?
Okay.
Okay.
No.
So
Yes. Okay. So here's probably what it is.
So here's probably what it is.
Hold on.
You were.
Is the volume up on your phone? No. Okay. So I'll just try to control it on my end. We'll try that. All right. Coach Rambo.
Yeah.
Hardest thing about the job nobody knows.
The last time I was on the podcast, I said parents, and to a certain extent, I do feel like that when you're talking about specific parents. I think honestly, the hardest thing managing now is the workload, not from the athletic standpoint, but the amount that education is starting to put on us. I think that is the hardest part. Like, a lot of people get into this and it's like we're coaches for sure, but our job in high school is attached to a teaching position. And the amount that I think the expectations that are being placed on us, and some of them, like, you're like, okay, I get it. We're trying to push toward, being excellent and things like that. But some of it is like, I mean, why are we really doing this? You know what I mean? And I feel like that has been the hardest thing to navigate, especially probably this year. And I've seen it more this year than anything, especially with some of the things that have changed in education. And so I would say that that's probably my answer now. It might be because I'm biased, because my parents are amazing. Like, I think God was like, let me just sprinkle a little extra like love and happiness over there on all these parents, because they're amazing. So maybe it's just because I'm biased, but I do think that would be what I would say is the hardest to navigate, is just the amount of expectation that's placed on us, not just like in the classroom, as well as the pressure that's put on us as coaches. I think all of it combined together, on top of the fact we all have our own personal lives, like it's becoming what society has become, like do all the things all the time, go, go, go. And it feels like there's not much room for rest and recovery and rejuvenation and just resetting. And so I think our kids are struggling with that, like our athletes. Like, we've had so many kids who have had injuries that I know of in the last few weeks. And I've told my husband this every day, like, I think it's because they're not resting, but they feel so much pressure to do all these things because so much is placed on them. I think they're struggling with the same thing. And I think we really got to figure it out, honestly, as a society, and specifically in education. That would be my 2 cents on that one.
No, that's a whole nother podcast episode right there. Let's run it back. Easy. We'll start with you. We'll go Coach Rambo, Coach Branch, and then Coach Shead. What's the easiest thing about the job nobody knows?
I agree with Tori. I think relationships, they're easy when you. I don't think easy, and I think when people hear easy, it means, I don't have to put as much work into it, and those two don't correlate. I think the easiest part about it is relationships, and the reason why I feel that way is because I believe that we were designed to be in relationships with other people. And I think when you really try to lean into that, it makes it easier. not from the standpoint of I don't have to invest as much in it, but like from the standpoint of now with me understanding that that's kind of really the purpose in this. I think that really kind of settles you a little bit, you know, when you understand the purpose in something, and you do try to invest in it. I think those come easy when you really have good intentions. They come easy. Like, and I think sometimes we miss that. I think we're so worried about the task that we miss the relationship. And then we wonder why. We're kind of looking back like, why has this year or this season been so difficult? And I think it's because we forget that aspect of it.
Coach Branch?
I would like to agree. I don't really have, I don't think, another answer, only simply because I feel like relationships lead to other things, or the success of other things. So I would piggyback off of that and say that, because when you invest, you know, so much time and you know, you're giving back to these kids, it becomes easier, you know. Like we've had a couple kids that are new to the program, for example, and you know, I feel like it's been an easier transition for them just because I was super intentional about building relationships. And when you're intentional, I feel like that goes a long way, because these kids know when, you know, you're BSing them, simply because just this is how this generation is. But I think when you're super intentional and you're consistent, that goes a long way. So that's what I would say would be quote unquote easy.
Okay. Sounds like a future head coach to me, Mom. Okay, Coach Shead.
Okay, Coach Shead.
Yes. Is it still bad?
Yeah, I don't know what you did.
Yeah, I don't know what you did.
I didn't do anything. So I want to retract with the actual, I want to retract on the parent thing. Let me kind of clarify more than retract on the, I feel like, I think the hardest part about navigating your parents is reminding them that when you when you do things as a coach, you are moving with the intent of making things good for your program and as a whole. And although they're focused on their child, I think that one of the harder things is to remind them that you're trying to make decisions that will be best. Sorry, y'all. That parents are hard, just because I have to remind them that we're moving as a whole. You know what I mean? So I do have great parents. I will honestly say I don't think there's anything we've put on the table in the time that I've been there that they have not been 100% behind. You know, they may have their opinions, but on a whole, I mean, they're very supportive. To move to the easy part, I think the easy part of our job, honestly, is investing our time and our love for what we do. I think that, you know, even though the surrounding things that are around it may make it difficult sometimes, I think that in itself just is easy for me. It's just showing up, loving what I do, loving the kids that I'm with. And I think that when you keep that at the forefront, that's what helps you to navigate all the outside noise that can interfere and make your job hard.
Okay. So now let me ask this. We'll start with you, Coach Shead. Who has the harder job, coaches or officials?
Ooh, that's the toss up. I want to say, honestly, though, I think depending on the situation, depending on the coach, sometimes it can be the official. And, you know, but on the flip side of that, I think that as a coach, it's often difficult to understand their perspective sometimes, especially when you're in a certain type of game and there's a certain type of atmosphere that's present. I think that we all can be emotionally influenced, you know. So, you know, I umpire for the simple intent of trying to understand the perspective of an official in a game so that I can be more understanding and not be so meticulous on wanting them to call every single thing that they see, you know. But as the coach, you want to make sure you're protecting your kids. So I think it's really a toss up on which one has the harder job.
Coach Branch? Coaches or officials? What you think?
The official. I used to be an official.
Okay.
I would say officials. I used to be an official. I loved it 100%. I think it's just simply because when I was an official, I knew I wasn't going to call everything. I couldn't see everything. But when you get that perspective, and the reason why I did it was because I didn't want to be a crash out coach. So I went from player to coach to officiating, then, to a varsity coach. And it's definitely changed my perspective. And I feel like as officials, when you hear the coaches saying certain things, you hear the stands, and I block out the stands because I would lose my job. But honestly, when you are on the floor, you're trying to be consistent. And that's one thing that I do ask as a coach when I am talking to officials. Hey, you're going to be consistent, whether you're consistently bad or you're consistently good. And I think that's super important. And as an official, when you go out there and you try to make every call, you slow the game down, etc., whatever. But I think they do have the harder job simply because I feel like you try to call what you see, and they always tell us officiate the defense. That's what they always like. That's what my chapter told me. But I think that if I had to pick, I would say officials, because if it's a big game, the pressure, that's what I'm thinking about. But I'm not gonna say coaches don't, because I feel like we do. But
Yeah.
I'm just a person that is I don't too much care what people think when it comes to my program. So
Okay, Coach Rambo, what do you say?
I wound up officiating too after the fact, after I became a coach. So I don't know. I think it is a toss-up. I think my perspective has changed before. I probably would have said, teetered between, but just in stepping into the role that I'm in now, I do think I think coaches might take the edge a little bit. And I only say just because of the day-to-day. Like officials, once the game is done, you can walk away from it, and you might not have to ref again until you ref on a Tuesday. You might not ref again until Friday. Like you kind of get to decide that. For us, we can't really walk away from it. And so I think it also determines on like the perspective that you're looking at. Like, is it pressure in the game? I think probably officials, just because we're so prepared. Well, we should be as coaches. I think the day-to-day and the mental aspect, though, definitely the coaches. So I just think it just depends on your perspective and what element you're looking at.
it's a great answer.
Yeah.
It is very much.
All right. Let's play a game. Will y'all play a game with me?
Of course.
Sure.
All right. So this is let's come up with a name. This is gonna be
we get competitive out here.
Yes, there is a trophy for the winner. I'll get the address of the winner, and I'll send it through the mail. Okay. All right. So here we go. So this is how we're gonna do this. Okay. So we're gonna go 4 quarters. So we're gonna call this 4-quarter full court press. So the first quarter, these are either or questions. Okay. And we'll go, this is how we'll do it. So we'll go Branch, Rambo, Shead. Okay. Don't think about it. Just first thing that comes to mind. That's what I want you to answer. Okay. You got it?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So first quarter, here we go. Remember, we're going Branch, Rambo, Shead. First quarter, man or zone. Go.
Man.
Okay. Game-winning shot or game-winning stop.
Game winning stop.
Stop.
Okay. Old school drills or new school technology.
Old school drills.
Old school.
Old school.
Okay. All right. Here we go. It's Christmas break. Would you rather play your way back into shape in a tournament or practice?
Practice. She
Play.
gonna say play.
Okay. All right. What matters most? Intensity or intelligence?
Intensity. Ooh.
Intensity. That's exactly what I was gonna say, but boy, that's a hard one. Intensity.
Cause boy.
Whoa. I want to say intelligence.
Okay. All right. That was the first quarter. Second quarter. We ready? We're gonna stay with the same order. Now, these are agree, disagree. Agree or disagree. All right. Practice matters more than talent.
True. Oh, I mean, agree.
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 Coaches' kids have it tougher.
Agree.
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 If you weren't coaching, you'd probably still be in a gym somewhere.
Disagree.
Agree. I've been playing with the kids and I feel it a little bit. Agree.
Disagree.
Okay. Agree or disagree? Winning solves all problems.
Disagree.
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 Okay. Last question for the second quarter. Social media has been good for high school athletics.
Disagree.
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 Okay. All right. Halftime. I want to ask a question. I wanted to ask about this earlier. Okay. And I just thought about it. So let me ask before I forget. So, Mom, you don't like to call timeouts early in the game?
Ever.
No.
So,
and my reasoning.
Okay. Go
ahead. My reasoning is I always feel like that if I don't have to take a timeout because it's going to influence the game one way or the other, I do not. I always, in my mind, feel that at the end of the game, we may be in a clutch situation that I need to save a possession or I need to make a correction because the game is on the line. And I don't want to know that I uselessly, exhausted those timeouts when I did not have to.
You need all 5, Mother, at the end.
I just said intelligence was a very true, needed aspect of the game.
So. You, Coach B.
Say you can't take your money with you after you die. This is the same with
this is true.
Okay.
Roll over.
Okay.
So
So that's the philosophy that I came up under. Like, you can't take them with you. You can't take them home. But I'm going to say this. I hate calling timeouts early in the game. Like, I'll call a timeout. Like, if we're getting our head beat in and it's a 10-0 run, all right, let me call this timeout.
Yep.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
But like, call a timeout to draw up what? What am I going to draw it up?
Right.
It's nothing for me to draw.
No.
I like to save them for the end. But
I agree with that. But they start going on a 10-0, 12-0 run. I'm like, we might need to call one.
Now, if we're gonna lose by 30,
different. If
we're gonna lose by 30, like, let's go on and get it up to 30 because it's gonna be 30 anyway. So why are we gonna call it timeout? To say
we better not.
I just feel like sometimes they need to dig themselves out. Especially if it's early in the season. But if it's early in the season, I feel like that's a character piece. How do you navigate? It doesn't always take the coach to be able to figure out what needs to change to make the game change. So if it's early in the season, I feel like allowing them to work through that 10-0 run without me trying to navigate you into doing it, I think it's something that comes back later on in the season that's very beneficial, because instead of them being intimidated or even I'm gonna even use the word distraught about way things may be playing out, I feel that if they've been there before, they have the ability to navigate and get themselves out without any input from me.
Okay, so this I'm all off track right here. So no, I'm gonna ask this question. Let me see if I got it on here. I have it in here. I already have a question that alludes to this in here. So, all right, halftime's over, third quarter. All right, third quarter. Here we go. You ready, Coach Branch?
Yes, sir.
Fill in the blank. Every practice should start with blank. Go.
Intensity.
It's my turn. My bad.
Yeah, Coach Rambo.
I start every. I don't know. Are we being simple? Because I was gonna say warm up, but okay. But outside of that, huddle. We huddle every time.
Okay. Coach Shead.
Intent.
Okay. The most important stat in basketball is
rebounds.
I was gonna say the turnovers, but from the defensive side, like deflections, turnovers, press.
Okay.
I was gonna say turnovers.
Okay. The best coaches are always blank.
Blunt.
Intentional.
Taylor, you're
Good
smart.
students of the game.
Okay. The best part of game day is
Not going to work. Oh no. Okay. You said the first thing that comes to mind. Don't
yeah, you're playing the game correctly.
I would say the I'm trying to think of not anxiety, but good anxiety, like excitement, I guess.
Excitement. Okay.
That's what I was gonna say. The feeling, like the giddiness, the like I feel like I'm about to step in and play again, but from the coaching perspective, like I'm ready to go. Like it's time to battle.
Lock in.
Okay. Coach Shead.
I'm going to say the anticipation. However, I'm also going to say blowing somebody's mind when we walk out in our outfits.
Okay.
Yeah,
She is very much like that. She's been like that since we played. I'm like, why are we doing all this? This is not a fashion show, but that's her.
You look good, you play good. Play good, they pay good. Okay, here we go. Last question in the third quarter. My players would say I am blank.
Ooh. My players would say I am. I guess they say I always got an attitude. So attitudinal.
Okay. Coach Rambo.
I would say caring, but only because I got a nice little note today. It was really sweet. So I guess caring is mine. But that sounds, I don't know. I feel like I'm boosting myself when I say that. So it kind of feels uncomfortable coming out of my mouth.
It's okay.
Me?
It's okay. Mm-hmm.
Give yourself your props. Blunt.
Okay. All right. Fourth quarter. All right. Let's take some pressure off Coach Branch. Okay. So let's go Coach Rambo, Coach Shead, and then we'll let Coach Branch go last. Okay. We're going to take a little bit of pressure off of it. All right. You ready? Fourth quarter. What's your coaching superpower?
I'm a planner. I'm type A. Yeah, I can get help.
Woo. Resolutions.
Okay. Coach Branch.
Execution. So execute.
Okay. Favorite basketball movie?
I like Coach Carter now.
I think mine's Glory Road.
Okay.
Coach Carter.
What is your most used phrase during practice?
Mine. Hold on, let me take some words out. Let me think through this because I almost said it and I straight it back. Mine is always I can't coach effort, and they make fun of me all the time because I say that, but it's a little colorful sometimes.
Wow. I would.
Wow, your kids even say wow.
Pay attention to detail.
Okay.
Pay attention to detail.
Coach Branch.
Mine's explicit, so I'll take some words out. But I'll sum it up. That's why Shed looked the way she did, because she knows. If you can't play defense, you cannot play for me.
That's good. That's good. All right. What is one rule that you would change in basketball, Coach Rambo?
The hand check.
Okay. Coach Shead.
Rule, or perhaps I'm gonna say this. I would like a shot clock. I don't know if that would count as a rule.
Ooh, I'm with you on that. That might take the cake. I'm with you.
I'm gonna copy her. I for sure would love a shot clock in Texas high school basketball.
Me too.
100%.
Let me tell you what I want more than a shot clock. Being able to advance the ball.
I like that too.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
When I coached, we didn't even practice those inline plays. Like we're on that end. It's 3 seconds left on the clock. We didn't practice that. Like for what? It's not gonna work.
Right, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. Okay. All right. So now we're in crunch time. All right. So crunch time, it's coming to the end of the podcast. We've been on here talking about a whole lot of stuff. So crunch time works like this. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1. We're gonna go 3 in the key, 3 things that all athletic professionals or coaches need. 2 shots, toughest challenges or foulest things that you've experienced in coaching. And then we'll end it with and 1, and each of you will have an opportunity to share something that you want to share before we get out of here. All right, so this is how we're going to do 3 in the key. I want each of you to give us one thing, right? And we'll end up with 3 total. One thing that all athletic professionals or coaches need. We'll start with you, Coach Shead. What do you have for us?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that for me just real quick, what I'm supposed to be responding to? I apologize.
It's okay. Give us one thing.
Give us one thing.
Mama, I don't know what you're doing. Mama, I don't know what you're doing.
I promise I have not changed anything. I promise I haven't.
All right, so give us one thing that all athletic professionals or coaches need.
A philosophy, a strong philosophy, something that they believe in and can garner their team to believe in it as well.
Okay. Coach Rambo.
Culture that kids want to be a part of and come back to.
Okay. And go.
Me?
Yes.
Consistency. So I would say modeling discipline and stability every day.
Good stuff right there. That's good stuff right there. All right. So now this is 2 shots. So usually when I have a single guest on, I ask them to share, 2 of their most foul experiences or 2 difficult things that they've had to experience. But I'm going to ask each of you just to share one of your toughest challenges, or it could be a foul thing that you've experienced in your current role. So Coach Rambo, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with a challenge in my current role. One of the things is schedules, like coaches' schedules. I'm by myself in one of the athletic periods with almost 40 kids. And then, and kind of the way that we do it is not every coach, has an athletic period, and it's not necessarily, but sometimes you give up your conference period. It's kind of, what you do. And we're not the only district that does that. But I think for me, that's why culture is such a big deal, because I am by myself, with JV and, varsity or, those older kids. It is so important for me to have that culture, because they kind of take they take those leadership roles and they help me manage that in a sense. And so I'm glad I invested so much time in it, but I would say that's probably been the toughest thing, but we've adjusted. And I'm proud of my kids. It shows me kind of who they are, but that's definitely been one of the toughest things.
Okay. Coach Shead, about 3 decades of experience, so I'm sure you've experienced some tough challenges or some foul things. So what do you have for us?
For me, I think it's understanding that a lot of times the demise of your program may come from the inside out instead of someone on the outside. And I think having to learn how to navigate, still being kind and still being unbiased in your approach to how you handle those particular events, whether you know where it's coming from or not, I think is something that is difficult to do, because I think that at the end of the day, we're human, so even though we understand the reality of why we need to do it, the one thing that I had to learn and to search for internally was how to continue to be professional, even when I know that I'm being attacked. So, I think that's probably one of the hardest things for me to navigate in my career.
That's definitely tough to navigate. I think I figured it out though. Mom, do you have us on? Are you on Bluetooth? Mm-hmm. I think that's why the echo is there. I figured that out. All right, Coach Branch. Tough or foul? What you got?
So I would go with probably okay, so clearly I work with my mother. So not only do I work with my mother, I work with my husband. So I would say that that's definitely a challenge, just because I'm trying to navigate wife, daughter, and colleague. And so that can be difficult at times simply because, like I said, opinions, we butt heads, etc. Being at school, at practice all day, and then coming home, that was a challenge at first. Like he was driving me crazy. And so I think that that's been a challenge for me because, of course, it's new. When I came to North Crowley 5 years ago, of course, everybody's like, oh, yay, you get to coach our mom. I'm like, oh, it ain't rainbows and ponies. Trust me. So, I mean, we definitely have our days, but I think it's rewarding for the most part. But I would say it was a challenge for me for sure because I didn't know how to balance the two at first. I can't hear you. It says you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So I unplugged my mic on accident. And when I plugged it back in, it wasn't working. So God bless you. Because I couldn't work with my wife.
It almost happened.
And like Coach Rambo, you and your husband are in the same building as well.
Yes, we work together.
It's definitely a calling. It's definitely a calling, and I'm so glad that the Lord didn't call my wife to coach. Because her boss literally, this is not even on, but her boss just told her yesterday, like, man, I feel bad for your husband. Because he got to deal with kids, and then he got to go home and deal with you. So anyway, all right, listen, we have been in here. Time is forced. All right, so this brings us to the very last thing in this podcast. This is and one final message that you would like to share with those who will be listening or watching. Coach Shead, I'm going to give you the honors to set it off.
I kind of got the end of that. I'm not quite sure why. I hope I don't sound like I didn't hear it all. So the one thing I will share, I'm assuming I'm sharing that with others. Is that what the question was?
Mm-hmm. Anything that you want to share, one thing that you want to tell, you might want to tell everybody or for them to know.
That are maybe watching or listening.
Yeah. One piece of advice.
I would say that if you make a decision to be a coach or an educator, just know that even though there are going to be times that you experience those points that you feel like you're not impacting a life or you're not impacting your student athletes, but I think that you always have to remember that even on the worst days, there's still a influence that you're having, and how you choose to navigate the things that even you encounter in life as an adult also teaches them, whether that be directly or indirectly, how to also navigate the things that they are going through as well. I think that know that your role is far bigger than at school. Be ready to give part of yourself, as if you would if it's part of your family, because they know if you genuinely care about them or not. So just be genuine and authentic in the things that you choose to do each time that you do it. And if you cannot do that, then don't do it, because it will reveal itself that the intent is not genuine. So just always be authentic, intentional, and know why you're doing what you're doing, and keep that at the forefront even when it gets tough.
Okay, Coach Rambo.
Mine, we break out every day, every huddle, everything with BTB, and it's what it stands for, build the bridge. And so for us, the way that we say that, we also start every practice with that. We break out to that, and the main thing is just saying everything that you do matters, like every step that you take. So how I compete in this drill, it matters. It's me building the bridge for where we want to go. And my husband actually spoke to the kids. So I do a leadership course with all my kids. We, in off season, and they did it last year. And he's the one that spoke to them about building the bridge, that bridges aren't built from one. You can't go from the start to the end and then build the middle. They're built in pieces and at a time. And so for us, we've really leaned into that as a program of building the bridge. And that just reminds us, like, how I choose to respond to this, how I choose to compete in this, how I choose to act in the hallway, how I choose to interact with other people, including me as a coach, how I choose to practice plan. Do I take the time to invest in that? Am I building it in pieces? Am I being intentional about it? How I choose to step into the gym. Did I have a hard day? And how am I going to, invest in my kids today, despite that type things? That's kind of what we lean on. And so to me, that's the most important thing that we can do about anything in life. Just the next right step, build the bridge toward whatever goal you have, no matter if you're a coach or in life, and just working toward, like I said, taking the next right step to get to where you want to be, because you can't jump from one end to the other. So that's mine.
All right, Coach Branch.
Sorry. I would say that your mindset matters in anything that you do, simply because I feel like your brain, which is your mind, it sends signals everywhere. So it's going to tell you about your actions. It's going to tell you about your mouth. Like, everything starts with the mindset. And I feel like, you have to have the correct mindset, but also when you get into this profession, your mindset has to definitely shift and change daily. And you can't have just one set mindset, because this isn't that type of profession. So I would say, those who are coaching, etc., you got to be intentional and have a positive mindset, because the kids, whether you want to or not, they feed off of your energy and they feed off of your mindset, and whatever you speak, that's what they're going to listen to. So I know that, we continue to preach a whole lot of things about, perfecting their craft, being intentional. I preach defense every day. So I feel like coming into this program, it's different, but my mindset had to change. I was called a negative Nancy growing up. So when my perspective changed, the outlook on my perception as far as the success that we have or have had in our program, it changed. And I feel like that made a world of a difference in our program. So
that's good stuff. All right, I'm going to get us out of here, but while I get us out of here, y'all just hang back for a second so I can give y'all some final details, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Listen, thank you for joining us here in the co-op. Big thanks to tonight's guest, Coach Branch, the associate head coach at North Crowley, Coach Taylor Rambo, the head coach at Randall High School, and Coach Lori Shead, the head coach at North Crowley, where she's been for 11 years. Thank you for sharing your journey and your wisdom. If you are walking away with new insight, new energy for your team or your program, then we did our job. All right. Make sure you hit that like button, follow, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review. Your ratings and reviews will help other coaches find us here in the co-op. Share the show. Help us grow the co-op community, where coaches do what most people can't. So for Coach Branch, Coach Rambo, and Coach Shead, I'm Coach Prejean. We'll see y'all next time. And always remember, stay ready, and then you don't have to get ready.